Hello and welcome to House News. In this episode, we will present to you the latest information coming from the House of Representatives of Indonesia. Before we get started, here are some news headlines of today. In their bilateral meeting, the Speaker of the House and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar discussed various issues including the values of tolerance, women in politics, and support for Palestinian independence. BKSAP of the House emphasized Indonesia's commitment to Palestinian independence and expressed optimism for full UN membership, considering recent international support and recognition. Vice Chair of BKSAP of the House highlighted Indonesia's potential as a maritime superpower after observing the Ocean Explorer research vessel at Tanjung Priok Port, following the completion of the third phase of its sea exploration mission along the Padang-Jakarta route. Puan Maharani stressed the 2025 fiscal policy will lay the foundation for Golden Indonesia 2045, focusing on economic growth, public welfare, and regional equity with strict oversight. Jin of global K-pop sensation BTS carried the torch for the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics and greeted by crowd of cheering fans. The Speaker of the House recently welcomed a visit from the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar. The discussion focused on promoting world peace and understanding between nations, highlighting the commitment to strengthening cooperation and mutual respect.
During a press conference, Speaker of the House Dr. Ana Rizkausa Puan Maharani reaffirmed the Indonesian parliament's commitment to supporting Palestinian independence. She emphasized the urgent need for a ceasefire and called for improved access to humanitarian aid in the Gaza Strip. Moreover, Puan Maharani expressed her appreciations to the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Muhammad Ahmad Al-Tayyib, for his support in promoting women's empowerment and representation in government politics.
Islam yang beliau harapkan adalah Islam yang moderat, Islam yang wasatiyah, Islam yang rahmatan lil alamin. Beliau juga mendukung kepemimpinan perempuan tanpa membeda-bedakan perempuan dan laki-laki untuk bisa menduduki semua posisi, juga di politik, juga bagaimana kemudian mendukung kemerdekaan Palestina dan berharap apa yang diperjuangkan Indonesia terhadap kemerdekaan Palestina itu tetap konsisten, bahwa harus bersama-sama sampai Palestina merdeka dan berharap adanya perdamaian dengan jalan diplomasi atau dialog.
As Indonesia and Egypt enter the 77th year of bilateral relations, Puan encouraged more cooperation in various sectors, especially in education. She suggested developing educational programs promoting religious moderation and tolerance. TVA Parliament Team reports.
BKSAP of the House received an honorable visit from the United Nations Committee for Palestine. The visit focused on discussing the ongoing matter of Palestine's membership status within the United Nations.
Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Fadli Zon explained the visit highlighted Indonesia's unwavering commitment to supporting and assisting Palestinian independence. Fadli Zon was optimistic Palestine will secure full membership, considering recent support and recognition from various countries. In this meeting, the UN Committee on the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People hoped the House could play a role in persuading UN member states to admit Palestine as a member of the United Nations.
Mereka juga berharap kita bisa terus membantu dukungan dari sisi parlemen untuk isu-isu Palestina ini, agar isu Palestina ini tetap hidup dan mendapatkan bantuan jawaban dan juga segala diplomasi, termasuk nanti ketika perang berakhir gitu ya. Sekarang tentu konsentrasinya adalah bagaimana mengakhiri perang, dan setelah itu akan ada rehabilitasi, kemudian rekonstruksi dan lain-lain.
As of now, 149 countries have acknowledged Palestine's full membership status in the United Nations. Arif Naka, TVA Parlemen reports.
Following an invitation from OceanX, BKSAP of the House visited the Ocean Explorer vessel in the Tanjung Priuk port area, North Jakarta. The visit aimed to support marine research and studies in Indonesia.
Vice Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Putu Supatmarudana mentions, the government partnership with OceanX to advance marine studies in Indonesia is a significant step reflecting the importance of marine research for Indonesia, where 2/3 of the territory is ocean. Therefore, the scientific studies conducted by OceanX are important to explore the various opportunities in Indonesia's marine management.
Tentu kita melihat bahwa segala kajian ataupun laboratorium ada di sini. Yang dulunya kalau kita ingin melihat ikan di berbagai perairan, dengan vessel ini justru mereka bisa melihat dari DNA air. DNA air inilah yang diambil untuk melihat bagaimana kondisi di lautan itu. Sehingga mereka tahu dalam area ini ada ikan atau tidak, atau ikan apa saja yang ada di area Indonesia sebagai negara kelautan, tentu sumber proteinnya banyak dari laut. Food security menjadi sangat penting. Kita ingin memastikan juga apa yang menjadi kerjasama antara kita dengan Ocean Explorer ini, memastikan keberlanjutan daripada sustainability daripada food security kita.
The Ocean Explorer ship owned by OceanX is the most advanced scientific research and media ship in the world, equipped with laboratories and 2 submarines capable of diving to certain depth, allowing for a closer study of the conditions and biodiversity of the marine environment. The Ocean Explorer has detected critical conditions in Indonesian waters. This finding could serve as an important warning for Indonesia to take action and improve its marine environment. Dodi, TVR Parlemen reports.
After the break, we will bring you more information from Commission 11 of the House. Stay tuned to House News. The House and the government have decided the upcoming 2025 fiscal policy will be directed as a foundation for national transformation to achieve the long-term vision of Golden Indonesia 2045.
Speaker of the House Dr. Honoris Causa Puan Maharani believes high economic growth, increased public welfare, and better regional equity are essential to achieve Golden Indonesia 2045. Discussions on the macroeconomic framework for the 2025 budget resulted in several agreements that will serve as a strategic blueprint for drafting the 2025 national budget. Puan emphasized the House will maintain strict oversight to ensure the 2025 state budget fully complies with its constitutional mandate, which is to be allocated for the optimal benefit of the people.
DPR RI bersama pemerintah dalam pembahasan pendahuluan dan kebijakan ekonomi makro dan pokok-pokok kebijakan fiskal RAPBN tahun 2025 telah menyepakati bahwa desain kebijakan fiskal tahun 2025 diarahkan untuk mendukung akselerasi pertumbuhan ekonomi yang inklusif dan berkelanjutan sebagai landasan transformasi dalam rangka mewujudkan visi Indonesia Emas 2045. Untuk mewujudkan visi tersebut, dibutuhkan pertumbuhan ekonomi yang tinggi, peningkatan kesejahteraan masyarakat, serta pemerataan antar daerah yang semakin baik.
Furthermore, Puan stressed the draft of the 2025 state budget needs to provide the next government with the opportunity to implement the vision and missions of the newly elected president. Andini Putri, TVR Parlemen reports.
Indonesia faces a high debt payment of 800 trillion rupiah in 2025. This debt includes maturing government bonds and loans and the highest on record, which will be a significant financial burden for the upcoming government.
Member of Commission 11 of the House Melkias Markus Mekeng states the government has several strategies to repay the maturing debt in 2025. Additionally, the government can use state revenue or issue new bond as options to settle the debt. The government's tax collection in 2025 could be a main option before issuing new debt. Furthermore, Mekeng mentioned the maturing debt in 2025 must be paid without any issues to maintain the nation's reputations and credibility. Therefore, the key to resolving the debt issue lies in the government's capacity to utilize its financial resources.
Yang pasti kalau memang hutang jatuh tempo, kita harus melunasi utang itu. Melunasi utang itu kan ada berbagai macam cara. Ada dari sumber penerima negara atau dari kita menerbitkan surat utang baru lagi. Nah ini tinggal kita melihat kemampuan penerimaan pajak pada tahun depan. Kalau penerimaan pajaknya tidak bisa terlalu optimis, tentunya pemerintah harus menerbitkan kembali surat utang gitu. Nah, jadi tinggal nanti pemerintah harus mengatur cash flow-nya dan kita tidak boleh fail dalam membayar surat utang itu karena itu masalah kepercayaan.
The Minister of Finance has described the surge in government spending by nearly 1 trillion rupiah to combat the COVID-19 pandemic is a key reason behind the high debt maturity looming in 2025 and 2027. Panji Prabowo, TVR Parlemen reports.
To enhance the quality of education, the government must first address disparities in educational access. It is essential to guarantee that every child can complete 12 years of schooling without exception.
Although student acceptance rates have been divided, the public should not be forced to measure the distance between their homes and schools within the zoning enrollment system. The government must provide equal and fair educational opportunities for all Indonesian children, regardless of their background or where they reside.
Harapan kita kan tidak ada lagi kesenjangan, tidak ada lagi yang tidak bisa melanjutkan sekolah untuk 12 tahun atau 13 tahun gitu. Dan mereka-mereka yang lokasinya dengan rumah mereka itu dekat itu harus menjadi prioritas walaupun persentase sudah dibagi gitu ya. Tapi jangan sampai masyarakat itu justru penerimaan ini sampai ukur-ukur pakai mengukur gitu, itu kan ini sesuatu hal yang sangat memalukan gitu pola.
On the other hand, government support for private school is very important. Private schools need financial support to implement the same system as public schools, including offering free education for students. With funding support from the regional budget, private schools are expected to play a role in providing quality and affordable educations for the community. This approach can improve educational quality and lessen the burden on public schools, which are often overloaded with a high number of students.
Jadi harus disuntik dana sekolah swasta juga, lalu pada saat PPDB ya mereka akhirnya bisa memberlakukan sistem yang sama seperti sekolah negeri juga, yaitu anak-anak bisa masuk ke situ dengan free juga seperti itu. Jadi menurut saya keterlibatan sekolah swasta itu sangat penting, yang dimana Pemda setempat harus juga didorong oleh Kemendikbud Ristek untuk bisa mempush agar Pemda juga bisa memberikan bantuan dari APBD-nya gitu ke sekolah swasta tersebut.
Evaluating the zoning system in the student admission process and supporting private schools are important steps in creating a more inclusive and equitable education system, ensuring that every child in Indonesia has the same opportunity to receive a decent education.
We still have more interesting stories when we return, so stay tuned to House News. BTS star Jin participated in Paris 2024 Olympic torch relay ahead of this summer's game. The superstar was recently discharged from military service as the first member of the K-pop band to complete the requirement.
Taken from the Straits Times, South Korean singer Jin of K-pop boy band BTS said he was honored to take part in the Olympic torch relay. The 31-year-old was one of the torchbearers of the relay ahead of the Paris Summer Olympic, which will be held from July 26 to August 11. The torch arrived in Paris on July 14, which is also Bastille Day, France's National Day. It will make the rounds of some of the city's most famous landmarks. Jin, who led the Louvre Museum sections of the relay, was greeted by cheers from waiting fans when he emerged from the Torch Relay Center at the museum at around 8 p.m. The singer, whose real name is Kim Sok-jin, waved to his fans, known as ARMY, as they chanted his name. He was escorted by the police as he moved to a nearby street and was handed the torch. He ran for about 200 meters before returning to the torch relay center at the museum. Jin, the oldest member of BTS and the first from the 7-member group to enlist, completed his mandatory military service on June 12. He is scheduled to release his first solo album later in 2024 and will appear in a new South Korean variety show, The Half-Star Hotel in Lost Island.
Exciting news for movie enthusiasts. Indonesian actress Marissa Anita has been chosen to voice a character in a Hollywood animated film produced by the actor Leonardo DiCaprio.
Acclaimed actress Marissa Anita has landed a voice acting role for a character in the upcoming Hollywood animated film Ozzy, Voice of the Forest, produced by Leonardo DiCaprio's Appian Way Productions alongside Micros Animations. The film tells the heartwarming story of Ozzy, a young orphan orangutan. Ozzy faces a serious challenge. Deforestation threatens his beloved forest home. But Ozzy isn't one to give up easily. He rallies his fellow orangutans, displaying courage and determination to protect their habitat. Marissa Anita voices the character of Kirani, a kind human who becomes Ozzy's guardian. The film boasts a stellar cast including Amandla Stenberg as Ozzy, Laura Dern and RuPaul Charles. After a prestigious premiere at the 2023 Annecy International Animation Film Festival, Ozzy Voice of the Forest swings into theaters on August 16, 2024. Be sure to mark your calendars and catch Marissa Anita's incredible voice acting debut in this captivating animated adventure. Over the last 2 decades, Marissa Anita has made a big impact on the Indonesian film and TV industry. First as familiar face as journalist and presenter, and now as a rising star in the country's film industry. Collecting numerous awards and nominations for her work in films such as Ali and Ratu Ratu Queens and In the Absence of the Suns, Anita is using her platform to talk about female representations in the Asian film industry.
The Indonesian Music Festival Pesta Pora returns this year, boasting a lineup of over 50 artists. The festival throws a surprise into the mix where Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, the Indonesian 6th president, will be making his debut on the Pesta Pora stage.
One of the biggest local music festival, Pesta Pora, will be held again this year. The musicians who will perform have already been announced. At least there are more than 15 musicians will perform on the stage of Pesta Pora, including Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, or the 6th president of Indonesia, will also be gracing the Pesta Pora stage. SBY will be joined by the famous guitarist and songwriter Tohpati and will perform at least 2 songs. During his tenure as the President of the Republic of Indonesia, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono has released 5 albums. On June 24, 2024, SBY released his latest single titled Setahun Ku Begini, as a tribute to his late wife Ani Yudhoyono. Held from September 20 to 2022 at Gambir Expo and Hall D2 JI Expo Kemayoran, the festival promises 3 days of electrifying performances. Get ready to headbang with the voice of Baceprot, the metal act that just rocked Glastonbury 2024. Joining them are 162 other acts including Ari Lasso, The Massive, Isyana Saraswati, Mocha, and The Adams, as announced by Pesta Pora's Instagram. Pesta Pora isn't just about the main festival. Leading up to the event, Pelatihan Pesta Pora, our festival workshop series, has been touring different cities. Solo kicked things off on June 15, featuring some of the festival performance. Next up are Malang and Bekasi.
And that's House News for today. Thank you for tuning in and see you next time.